Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. We are doing a little swatch party today with my Pretties For Your Face order. I did recently take advantage of one of the sales that the brand was having. The box has been sitting here for a while, I'm not going to lie, but I know that Black Friday is coming. I know that Pretties For Your Face actually does a decent amount of sales. So I just wanted to share with you my order. We're gonna swatch. Of course, this is the look that I created. So we're going to get into that right now. All right, just a little details if you haven't heard of Pretties For Your Face before. They are an indie makeup brand. I have purchased from them once before. I do have a video with that swatch party. I will make sure to link that down below if you want to see more. Obviously, I really enjoyed the shades that I got because I did another order. And this time the sale, I believe it was buy one, get one free, or it was basically like 2 polymorphs for $10. Maybe it was like $12. The polymorphs are normally $10. Those are what I would consider more the multi-chromes. And then you have the regular eyeshadows, which actually do have some sparkly shades or some like slightly shifty shades. Those are around $5 a piece. And I think that the sale ended up being around 50%. In all honesty, I purchased this so long ago that I really don't remember, but I think that that was the deal. So there are some details on the brand. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I am a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. But right now, we're gonna get into some swatches. All right, our first shade is Fragile. This is a beautiful, like, nudie peach. This actually reminds me a little bit of the shade Pumpkin Spice Extra Whip from Sydney Grace. And that is actually a highlighter. And I was thinking, if you can tell, I'm not wearing any highlighter because I thought maybe I would try putting this on. So this is just a beautiful shimmery shade. I am so sorry about the watch mark. I just took off my watch because I was like, I might need a little bit of real estate here. So I'm just gonna get a nice swatch here. So you can see, I mean, this is just a really pretty, nice nude shimmer. Our next shade is going to be the shade Happy Days. This is a beautiful, like, peachy gold tone. I mean, it's definitely more on the peachy side than gold, but I feel like it's very like warm, very autumnal. All right, I just turned my light down a little bit so that you guys can get a better look at these. But as I was saying, this is a very fall appropriate palette. If I had curated this myself, I would say it's, you know, pretty nice, like fall, a little bit of deep, a little bit of grunge. This is the shade Royal Rose. This definitely reminds me of a shade that I already have in my collection several times over. But this was really all about like trying this formula out. That's a really pretty shade. It's definitely that like pinky, I always say like peach Melba because it's like a pinky with a peach reflect. It just has that like peach and raspberry together. And then we have another orange shade. Now this one, again, because these are all like hand pressed shadows, this one is quite a bit down in the pan. Like I feel like I'm missing quite a bit of product. This is the shade Ozone, but I think that this is really unique. It's a orange with tiny, like a very tiny bit of pink reflect, but as I'm swatching this on my finger, I'm not really seeing that. I'm not sure if that's really going to show. Nope, I don't see it on the swatch. Oh, actually, if you get really close, like you can see that it's got that little bit of pink to it. But of course, I mean, next to that Royal Rose shade, it just looks very, very orange, but it does have that tiny bit of pink kick to it. One thing I will say is that Ozone shade felt quite a bit drier than the others that I've swatched from this purchase. So then we have the shade Golden Aries. This is beautiful. This is probably just slightly different from the other yellow that I purchased in my last Pretties For Your Face. And I'm not sure if I was like, there was something, I was kind of looking for something that duped the yellow in the Nomad Cosmetics America's Parks palette. And boy, I think this one is quite a bit closer than that other shade that I have. Maybe at the end I'll have to do some swatches, but wow. This shade is so pretty. Oh my gosh. Okay, so right away I'm thinking about my friends Rupi Minhas and Stephen Ford because they are both Aries, and I'm like, oh, both of you need this color. It's so pretty. All right, moving on to the shade Nightingale. This is a very special shade. This has, and I don't think you're gonna be able to see it on the camera. It is like a gold, but like an old gold with a bit of green and a bit of teal maybe. And if any of these are the polymorph formula, I will make sure to notate that here on the screen. I don't have that up right now, but I will definitely let you know with a little side note as we're swatching. Oh, this is so pretty. This again kind of reminds me of something, but I can't think of the shade. It is like a really nice light version of some of those like more like maroon undertoned shifty colors. I would have a feeling that this is probably a polymorph, but maybe it's not. I did notice that some of the shades that I would think would be the polymorph or multi-chrome aren't. So that's one thing, is you can find some like special shades within the regular collection at that lower price. So this is the shade Childlike Empress. So this is from their Never Ending Story collection, and I was so miffed because the first Pretties For Your Face sale I ever shopped, I really wanted the palette, the Never Ending Story palette. There was a really cute cover. I think it had Falcor on it, and the inside or the back had the emblem of the Empress, you know, the like snake thing, but it sold out. And I know my friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizz got it, but I was like, oh, it's sold out before I could get it. And I think that that was like when it was gone, it was gone. This shade is beautiful. Oh, so then I just decided, you know what? Not all the shades in that palette were shades that I necessarily like needed. Not that I need any of this, but or wanted. So I just got a couple of the shades that really kind of like struck me. You guys know I don't do a lot of blues, but I really like the shiftiness that this has. It has a little bit of a unique texture, and by texture I don't mean like finish, like flaky or smooth. I just mean like color texture. Does that make sense? All right, moving into another beautiful kind of murky shade. This is the shade Beetlejuice. This looks like it might have the same like finish as Childlike Empress, but it's definitely more of like a greeny teal, like a green, gray teal. Ooh, with a purple shift. Okay, I did see that this is one of the polymorphs, but I will again make sure to notate that. Oh, that shade. Wow. Ooh, these are so sheeny. Like, they're not high glitter, but they have a beautiful sheen to them. So, so pretty. We have another kind of greeny shade. This is the shade Mirkwood. And this again looks like a greeny teal, like a, almost like a foresty green. So pretty. So this formula on my finger feels a bit like a drier shimmer. Does that make sense? Like, it's very finely milled, but it doesn't have that creaminess. Like if you think of like the Sydney Grace shimmers, I feel like those have a little bit of like a buttery feel. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just a different vibe. So this is the shade Explosive. If I had to guess, I'm gonna guess this is a polymorph. This shade is really pretty. Yeah, see, these polymorphs have a thicker feel and that more emollient feel. So this shade gives me the vibes of Divina Celesta, but not the glitter. Like that Divina's shade is like super freaking glittery. This one is not. It's shimmery, but it doesn't have the sparkle. But you can see, hopefully you can see, I can see like a greeny teal shift, and then we've got like a more of a gold, and then here it's almost like kicking blue. Very pretty. See, I mean, some of these, like, because these, if it is, by the way, a polymorph, those are $10 again, full price, which is, I think, pretty reasonable. So this is the other shade that I wanted from that Never Ending Story collection. This is Rockbiter, and part of it is just, I loved the Rockbiter. That was one of my favorite characters. I don't want to get sad, But I just think that this looks like a really cool shade. Oh, look at that. It's like that midnight purpley gray. Oop. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's definitely that like purple toned gray. Very, very pretty. These are, I mean, this is like got some like brighter over here, grungier over here. I'm here for it. We got a good mix of shades. Here is a beautiful sparkly shade. This is the shade Charged. I don't know if you can see that from that far away. So it is like a very deep, I'm gonna say a black base. If it's not black, it's really darn close to black with a bunch of micro glitters in it. This has like blue, purple, teal micro glitters. This is a very different formula from all the other ones that I've tried so far. And of course it's gonna be with the pinky. So I'm gonna like double up the swatch here. Ooh, this is so pretty, but whoa, this is probably going to be a wet brush situation. Wow. That is so pretty. And I'll make sure to do a little close-up of all the shades once I'm done so that you guys can see those. Sometimes it's just nice to have like immediate live reaction. So this is the shade Solstice. This is a beautiful purpley shift. This is actually a shade that I don't usually tend to reach for. I must have just been kind of like wanting to round off my collection a little bit. So I know that I don't go for purples and lavenders very often, but this shade, I think I was watching, probably Jacqueline Tries It. I don't know if maybe she had this one, but I was watching swatch videos just to kind of see like what I wanted to try. Oh, that's very pretty. It's a blue shimmer, and then it has like that purple, almost like magenta underneath as well. And the last shade that we have here is Plasma. So Plasma is definitely a lot deeper and darker. This again moves back into that more dry feel. So this actually reminds me of, I don't know what the formula is, but the one from Glam Shop where there's the shade like, I think it was like pink kiwi, some of those where it's like, it's got some shift, but it's almost like a satin with a shift. It's very cool. This definitely reminds me of that formula. Oh my gosh, I just got stuff all over my arm, but it has a blue with a, it's almost like a periwinkle mixed with a purple underneath, and then it has a blue and purple shift to it. But again, not super like high sparkle as far as like glitter goes, but definitely has that shift. So I think that these are good colors if you like a little bit of shift, but you don't like to work with glitter. That would be a way to kind of like get that vibe. Now I'm gonna give you guys a really up close shot of all these swatches. Lovelies, I am interrupting myself rudely to let you know, after playing with these shadows more and really enjoying them, I actually decided to reach out to the brand to see if I could snag an affiliate code. And they said yes, and I'm so excited. So I now have an affiliate code that will save you 20% off. And these affiliate codes usually stack on sales. So you are able to get the Pretties For Your Face really great sale prices and an additional 20% off with the code KEEPBEAUTYREAL. So I'm really excited. Of course, I will receive a commission off of this if you use the affiliate code. You don't have to use mine. You can find someone else's or not use a code at all. But I have really been enjoying these shadows. I think that they do have a little something special to them, and I really like supporting these small indie brands. There's just something great about knowing that you're helping somebody out who loves makeup as much as we do. So. All right, so here you can see that first set. I mean, these really do have a nice like pearlescence, like a satin finish to them. I would say the highest shine ones are, I mean, this shade here and this yellow. Oh, this Golden Aries shade is so pretty. And then here we have that second set. I'm really hoping that the camera is picking up all of the sparkle in this shade. Wow, it is very pretty. I mean, this really is just gorgeous, but again, wet brush for sure. And then this Solstice shade, wow. So can you see that shift around the curve of my arm? I really think that these shades, again, have like a satin finish, but they still have a nice bit of shift. Very, very fun. All right, now that the swatches are done, I kind of know what I'm getting myself into, so we'll go ahead and do our look. So for mattes today, I'm gonna be using the Viseart Neutral Matte Shadow Palette. This way I can just have a few mattes to play with, and we can really keep the showcase on the shimmers, right? So I'm really not sure, like I love all of these so much, I'm just not sure where I want to go with this look. So we're just gonna play and see where we end up. Now the only thing about some of these like shiftier shades is I know if I don't give them enough space on my eyeball, you won't really see the magic of them because you won't get to see the tilt of the shift. So that's the only problem when you're working with some of these shifts is like, you really want to give them their time to shine. So, okay, I think I know where we're going. We're gonna begin with Childlike Empress here on the lid. And I did go ahead and wet my brush. A big part of that is just the fact that I already did my face makeup today. And by the way, I'm sorry if my under eye seems a little like crunchy creasy. I was using a couple items that were like on my chopping block, if you will. And the concealer was definitely one that it's already in the garbage. Let's just say it that way. It was one, I've got a few like drugstore and K-beauty items on my face that I was like, gosh, I don't remember how I feel about these. And I hadn't really used them enough, and now I'm like, oh, now I know why. So that concealer's in the garbage, but just so that you know, I'm not looking my best today. All right, on the other side of the brush, we are taking that shade Plasma. That's that last like deep purple, and we're going to put this on like from the middle to the end of our lid. And I am going just a bit above my crease. So I feel like both of these shades are, again, they're feeling like they feel like a matte going on the lid, yet they have like a shimmer that comes out over the top. So to me, this is more of like a reflective satin shade. Both of these are coming out that way more on the lid. And again, I did wet my brush. They look very pretty, but if you are wanting like high impact, like these aren't gonna be the shades. And the fallout was very minimal. Again, I did wet my brush, which I think really helps in this case. Now, while I think you could use these wet or dry, you're not probably going to get much of that like shimmer effect if you don't wet your brush. So that is something I would say to make sure that you are wetting your brush to avoid fallout and to get a higher intense shine. Speaking of higher intense shine, we are now gonna take that Golden Aries shade. That's going to be like run through the inner corner and around. What kind of brush should we use? So I had this happen with another shade recently. I cannot remember which one it was, but it was a light shade and I wet my brush and it became almost like paint. And I think it's because of that like light base. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely becomes like a different consistency. So I think what I'm gonna do is once I get this on the other eye, I'm gonna come back through and try to just dab it on with a dry brush just to maintain more of the shimmer rather than like have it be like a glowy paint situation. I think that using this dry brush did bring back some of the like sparkle, but you definitely would want to do this with a with a like naked face, I think, not when you already have your face makeup on. But I do like it. I will say I feel like these shadows have a very soft finish. All right, I've cleaned off that little small brush that I had that I was originally using for Golden Aries. I am going to take that shade Solstice. So we're gonna pop this shade with the damp brush underneath the lower lash line here. And then just for kicks and giggles, why don't we go ahead and take that Beetlejuice shade. Again, I'm using the same little brush. This Katie Jane Hughes 21 brush is coming in clutch. So I'm just going to tap this underneath out here. So this is really cool because the purple reflect that's in Beetlejuice is really coming out next to these other purples. You're probably not going to be able to see the magic of that, but it is really cool. Like, so we have the purple here and we have the purple here, and then Childlike Empress almost has a little bit of green blue in it, and that comes back out within Beetlejuice down here. So I'm really liking this. I think I'm just going to take a couple of these mattes just to finish out the look, kind of round out the shape a bit, and then we will try that shade on our cheeks. All right, here we have our final look. So really all I did was took these two shades here. This one is a little closer to where that blue and purple are, and then I just blended that out and blurred it into the shape with that lighter, warmer shade. Now let's go ahead and take this Fragile shade and use it as our highlight. I think that this is gonna make a good highlight. Like I said, it reminds me of the Pumpkin Spice Extra Whip highlighter from Sydney Grace. Oh, that's really pretty. This is like a shade that I love for a highlighter. It's kind of a little bit peachy, but like a cooler peach. It has that bit of pink into it. And this is definitely not like glittery, which is appreciated, but it still has a nice bit of shimmer. Now I will say, I don't feel that a formula like this that's really meant as an eyeshadow, if you have highly textured skin, this isn't what I would grab for, because I do think that it would enhance that a little bit, but I'm gonna just take a little bit of this and throw it on as a brow bone highlight too. This is that type of shade that, like, if I pull out my Pretties For Your Face palette and I'm making a look and I feel like I just don't have anything that I can use as an inner corner, and oftentimes I'm not wearing a highlight at all, or I'm using a cream highlight, so it's not like I can just use whatever I used on my face to like dab it on the inner corner. This is gonna be a nice one to just have within this set, so I am happy that I picked it up. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do some lashes. We'll zoom out, we'll chat a little bit, because I definitely have some thoughts. All right. I did throw on a little mascara, in all honesty. After this, I have another video to film, so I'm probably just gonna wash all this off and start over again. So I just used a tubing mascara, the Thrive Cosmetics, just so that I can get this off easily. By the way, I'm really trying harder to make sure I link everything that I'm wearing on my face, even if it's not something we talked about, in the description box. So if you're ever curious about a lip color, any of that stuff, it should be linked down below. And if it's not, just ask me and I will tell you. So, how am I feeling about these shades? I have to say, I feel like, even with my last order and obviously this order, I feel like this brand has some beautiful products, but I feel like there's a little bit of an inconsistency in the formula, or maybe not even an inconsistency in the formula, maybe just expectation. Like, for instance, I looked this up, and this Plasma shade, that's the shade that is on my outer part of my lid, that one is considered one of the polymorph shades, and I do think it has a nice shift. There's just something more subtle to these shadows. And again, that could be the shadows that I picked out, but I do feel like there are a couple shades that I've gotten that I really, really liked. Like Jolt from Pretties For Your Face is one that I really, really enjoyed. I do think I'm really going to like this Rock Biter shade. That's really pretty. I have found that this brand does sales quite often, so just keep a look for those sales on Instagram. And please do understand that this is a brand that is a very small brand. They are hand pouring these very obviously, so there is a little bit of time between when you order and when they ship. I do think on the website right now it says 3 to 4 weeks. And then of course with shipping right now, who knows? So just be patient. So I will say I am very happy. I think that this look is very pretty. It is definitely one of those things that I feel like you have to like be up close to really get the subtle sheen that's going on. Let me know what you think. Does it look like I'm wearing shimmer shadows right now? I feel like it looks like I'm wearing like a satin shadow. So that is it. Those are sort of my rambly thoughts. Thank you so much, lovelies, for hanging out today. It really does mean a lot that you take some time out of your day to spend it with me. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a like. It really does help me out, and I'll see you really soon.